The Health Insurance Portability Act, otherwise known as HIPAA, was created and enacted to provide health care providers a way to carefully manage and protect patients' personal information. It is Cannabis Certification Center's policy that the following information be strictly protected at all times: patients' names, address, birth dates, age, phone and fax numbers, and email addresses, as well as patient medical records, diagnoses, lab work, and test results, also prescriptions, billing records, referral authorizations, electronic records, paper records, and all oral communication. All new hired employees at Cannabis Certification Centers are required to receive a Notice of Privacy Practices form. This form should be distributed by the Human Resource Manager. It is important for the new employee to sign this form, agreeing and authorizing that he or she has read and understands the Notice of Privacy Practices document. Once signed by the employee, this document should be put into the employee's personal record. New patients at Cannabis Certification Centers also need to be distributed a Notice of Privacy Practices form. The patient needs to sign this form, and this form should be included with the patient's medical records. It requires that a complete medical record be kept for each patient who visits the center. Medical records must be retained for a minimum of 7 years from the date of first services rendered, unless federal or state regulations require a longer retention period. Cannabis certification centers will require that all medical records be maintained in such a manner as to protect their integrity, to ensure their confidentiality, and to ensure proper use and their accessibility and availability to each patient. It is illegal for patients' medical records to be released to law enforcement without the patient's permission. Under HIPAA, personal healthcare information can only be released to law enforcement without permission of the patient under certain circumstances, which include court orders and subpoenas, to identify suspects, witnesses, or missing persons, or to report about victims of crime, neglect, or abuse. Under HIPAA's new privacy standards, a method of sign-in must be in place so that patients cannot see other patients' information. Cannabis certification centers will adhere to this regulation by having the front desk receptionist completely black out each patient's name after they have been called back to meet with the doctor. Unintentional HIPAA violations occur on a daily basis. All employees of cannabis certification centers must adhere to the following rules. All employee workstations, particularly computers, must remain protected from unauthorized access. Staff should log off any clinical applications before leaving their workstation. Each staff member who will be accessing clinical software through a computer must use a strong, secure password. Workstations should also be removed from high traffic areas, and monitor screens should not be in direct view of the public. There are severe penalties for violations of HIPAA privacy standards. Civil penalties range from $100 to $25,000 per person per violation each year. Criminal penalties range from $50,000 and 1 year in prison for a knowing violation of the privacy rules, and up to $250,000 and 10 years in prison for violations made with the intent to use the health information for commercial gain or malicious harm. The duty of confidentiality continues even after patients stop seeing their healthcare professionals. Once healthcare professionals accept the duty of confidentiality, they are not legally permitted to divulge any medical information to third parties without patient consent. This concludes the training session on HIPAA privacy compliance for cannabis certification centers. Thank you for your participation and have a great day.
H is for health, I is for insurance, P is portability, and A accountability. HIPAA protects the patients, it keeps their info safe, it ensures that what you see here does not leave this place.
Oh, I think I get it.
If you see a famous person or just an average Joe, what happens to them here is for no one else to know. You got it. What you see here, what you hear here, must remain here when you leave here. Everybody! Everybody in the room, people in the back. What you see here, what you hear here, must remain here when you leave here. One more time, make it loud. What you see here, what you hear here, must remain here when you leave here. Audience participation.